swap from one to the other. Can you please, under what looks to me to be analyze, under analyze, go to volumes. So analyze, volumes, yeah. And you'll get something that looks like this. And then I want you to click on that little wee icon there, which is called Create New Volume Surface. And you're going to get this box here. So just hold a second there, James. So that box there represents, first of all, we're going to name this surface. Is that correct? Yeah. First of all, we're going to name the surface. So let's call this volume surface 1, something like that. So what that does is allow you to create lots of different volume surfaces. So say you have a road surface here and an existing ground, and you create that first surface to find out a balance, and then you create a new road and call that, a second surface and find out a new balance. Then you would keep renaming those things a different surface name. We're only practicing, so we're only going to do one, but I'm just explaining to you why we have to do this. Also, in our little notebook, and I suggest you do this with your assignment, write it down. So what do we call it? Volume surface 1. Because you're going to have to refer back to these things quite often, and there's nothing worse than, oh, what did I call it? All right? And it's even worse if you didn't call it anything, because it'll just go by some weird default that means nothing. So the next thing we have to do is we have to, if you look at the notes, we have to now look at the style and the render material. Is that 0.5 and 0.5 of a metre at this stage? That's fine. The base surface, well, James is going to click on the base surface and the little dots to the side. And which one's his base surface? Is it the first one or the second one? This one?
And it was supposed to be EG, but I didn't get into it.
Okay, he's renamed his Unitech ground.
The EG1 is on the note.
So, yep, EG1 is on the notes. You can see here on, I won't flick to it, but EG1 will be written on the notes. Yours will be whatever you named it. So this is a first wake-up call. What the hell did I name it? So you go back to your little notebook and you go, oh, that's right, I named it such and such. And of course the second one is the comparison surface. In this case, James has named his corridor. So his comparative surface is corridor. The one on the notes is corridor 2000. And what happens is we end up with a beautiful little coloured diagram up here, a red and a green, and of course we get a net rate of 103. In the assignment, I'm not going to give you that sort of tolerance. It'll have to be down to quite a small amount. Is there anyone struggling? Please put up your hand and James will come for a little walk around. Yeah. Remember, this is not the assignment. And remember, you can only have a little bit of time.
Click 3 dots. Corridor. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you need two, your surface
Okay.
and your corridor.
I think it's enough.
That's okay. I think
We untick the box and then, yeah.
Roger was
Sort of remove the triangles. Now, those triangles are there for assuming gradients and slopes and curves.
I think we did
And
that.
this is affects our quantities here. So we're going to set the alignment correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the issue with some of the first boxes that we ticked, I wanted to show you that they were there. It depends what your company standard is, right? Now, unfortunately, like if you're doing 30 kilometres an hour, you're probably unlikely to drive off any road really in New Zealand. But what it does is it says, oh, your tangent to the next curve is only a straight that long. Not happy, it doesn't come under our standards, right? Or triangle, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah, I can see.
In actual fact, it's perfectly fine. And I've probably designed roads over the years myself like that because of the low speed. Had it have been 100 kilometres an hour, I'd have said, no, stick to the standards, right? Otherwise,
Was this a grid volume?
yes.
Okay.
So that's where a good traffic engineer, like an Auckland qualified one, or one of you guys that have been
Because you
doing it for 10
you
or
didn't pick a
15
base
years,
or
just go,
comparison.
oh, don't worry about that.
Pick
Keep
your base.
going,
Your base is your
and we'll override it.
surface.
But
And
where
your comparison is
I
your
just wanted to
corridor.
show you the two things.
Number one is
in there.
EG. Yes.
Do you want the full
And number
check?
two
A bit
is-
like going, for a health checkup. Do you want to do all the different investigations, or do you just want, to do some blood
I
tests,
did that
or
before, but I
nothing?
said surfaces do not open.
So, what you do have to do though
Yeah,
often,
say it, do it again.
if you start getting the triangles later, is to rebuild the surface.
Yeah, that's because I know ticking the box off brings everybody's understanding why those triangles are there, why those errors are there, and how we could.
Yeah, it is. And also, it could be a horizontal curve, it could be a vertical curve. So what we're going to do in a minute is going to play with the vertical curves. And like I said at the beginning, it might work and it could be fine, or it could start putting barriers up that it's not to it. You imagine a vertical curve where you're going over a cliff like this and then back up again. Obviously, at that point, the car's going to undermine or go off into space. And down here, you're not even going to do that, you just go boof. So you have to have practical curves.
You got the same thing as well?
I was very lucky. I had a boss in his 40s. He'd been doing it for 20 years. He'd just say that, no, go away and do it properly. That's no good. Or he'd say, no, that's fine. That works. Yeah. Because I was always trying to follow the ground, because I knew if I followed the ground, it's going to have a good balance.
Oh, you guys deleted
But
it.
it's not always the best, is it?
Your old,
But
old,
then there was a geotechnical engineer. They'd come back and say you can't do
Nah,
that
but
for
I
other
did Control
reasons.
Z though, I came back to my original.
yeah.
Are you still got triangles going on?
No, I've got rid of them because you just check the box that says design criteria.
Yeah.
I'm sure others are having the same.
So what James is going to, obviously James's volumes weren't as well balanced as that, but he's going to have a bit of a go at making them balanced now. So what my first attempt was about similar to James. I think I got about, it's not there, I don't think, is it? No, I haven't actually shown you what my first attempt was. It was about 100 and something. The second attempt, I got it down to 30. So James is going to have a bit of a crack at that. So you just zoom in there, James. So there's his alignment, and at the moment he's got a balance of fill, which means that if he can increase his cut a little bit, I can see where some of his fill is. That's the cut bit there. But down in this region here, he's got, both those two regions, there's quite a bit of fill. So, okay, I'm just going to have a little bit of a play, and I'm going to see what I can do about dragging this down. Sorry, do you want to do this, James?
Nothing. I didn't make that many curves on the road design.
Oh, okay,
I only made 2.
okay. So we need to drag the curve down a bit. Depends where you've got your snap set to. There we are. I'm dragging that down a bit.
Try this one.
I have no idea what that balance is going to be now, but it should be a little bit better. Yeah. So I'm making a slight tweak, and it's still, James's design is a lot better than mine. It's a lot less curvier. So if we can get this balance right now, it would be great. So one thing I discovered in making these notes, which I haven't showed you, is that you can right click on here and go rebuild. And you can rebuild on the corridors. So I've rebuilt that, and it's now gone down to 96. So, you know, there's going to be a bit of play going on here. Is that where you got it to? Oh, well done. Yeah. So obviously looking at this, I've ended up getting 96 cut. Now I had 103 fill there before, so I've come down too much. All right, notice that I rebuilt things each time, got rid of the triangles. So I'll go back to what to James's one, and we'll just move that up a little bit, and you know that might just about do it. So we'll go to the surfaces to rebuild them. You notice down the bottom there, the 75, it's gone down to 75 cut. Still on 75. I'll move it up a little bit. And I'm going to right click on this and refresh that as well. And now I'm down to 53.97 cut. So I'm edging my way towards a good balance. Some of you may have got it straight away. Depends what your curves were. Now, to be honest, if you have to make a curve, if to close a curve up to a small curve, then you're probably going to also come across triangles which will say that's too small a curve. You imagine two lines coming in and then suddenly you put this tiny little piece like that in there. It's not going to work. Your balances might work, but it's not going to work. And the same as if you make it too big. So you kind of balance, you're not, actually I'm using doubles here. You're not just balancing this, but you're balancing a good road design. Yeah. My boss used to, once they'd done the earthworks, he used to take us out on site and I'd say, right, let's drive a car over your design. And you know, a couple of times you go, it just didn't feel right. Didn't feel like a good road design, you know. So we went back to the office and gave it another crack. But I guess that's just experience. Just experience whether you end up doing it. Look, you could end up in a civil engineering office and do one road design in 20 years. Or you could end up being in an office where you're doing them all the time. You're more likely to be doing platforms for housing and that sort of thing. So there's a little bit of an explanation on clicking on these grips and moving them around, but don't forget to rebuild anything with a triangle over here. Right click on it and go rebuild. Because if you're not rebuilding it, then Civil 3D is still sitting there going, I don't understand, what have you been up to? You've got to rebuild each part back to the way it was. Also, like I just said, you can right click on here at the very end and rebuild it, and you may end up with a better balance. Sorry, I'm pretending that you can see my other monitor. If you right click on here, you can go rebuild or refresh at the end, and that often will change things back to a different number on the right hand side. What's that? I think I've changed the assignment this year down to around about 10 cubic metres. I've been a bit mean.
Minimum is, maximum is 10.
Oh, well, yeah. But I think last year year the assignment was a wee bit easy. It was like 100 or something. Everybody hit the first button and went, oh, that's me, done. So I thought I'd just make you work a bit harder this year. Yeah. And in case there's anyone that's helping someone from last year, they'll come up and go, oh, I don't know how to do that. I got it first time.
Roger, were these triangle or not triangle, I got references on the.
Oh, since we don't know what to do,
long
we take
section
what to
or
do now. Do the road
Yeah.
again.
is
That's a different type of triangle. That's not.
Yeah, it's an exclamation, it's an I, so
I don't know what you do.
So you've got some of that on here,
yeah.
but what about the centre line over here? Have you got it on that one? So if it's on that centre line, you click on it, and if you go back to last week's notes, you'll see to get rid of it, you've got to check those boxes.
Yeah, I've got that off, so I don't have anything there, it's just on the long section.
I haven't come across that myself, but if you do the same, there must be properties. Have you come across that, Dave? He's got triangles on his.
Not triangle, just
Make
information
the green and the red.
tags.
Make it.
You just click that one. Just hold it there. Okay, so what I was doing is I was putting it down
The perfect balance. A lot depends on how long the road is. So if the road is 10 kilometres, a good balance might be 1,000, you know. But if it's only a very small section of road, you probably want to. Every truckload is 6. Every truck of dirt, whatever, is 6 cubic metres. So if you got it down to 2 truckloads over a small section of road, you're probably doing pretty well. So 12. Got it down to 1, that's even better. Okay.
Lower is 50, it would be low. There will be more loss.
Yes, but remember, you know, sometimes when you're playing with it, it can go from cut to fill.
You see this? Means this is.
When they do the big long roads, like, I don't know, maybe 15 kilometres, they do them in little bits. So this one might have too much cut, and that one might need some fill, so they stockpile. So they put it there in a big pile, and then when they do this section, they use it there. So they don't, it's not always just one whole road. Sometimes it's little bits of road that they do it here. in fact, if you ended up as a site manager, you would have to organise all that, work out the cut and fill, and organise how you're going to do each job. Yeah, it's quite interesting. It's yeah, and
How long did you work in the construction industry?
in consultancies mostly, not on site, for 20, 25 years. Yeah, I worked at. Beg your pardon? Oh, I started in 1983 or 4 in the Ministry of Works in doing the civil design office. We did small structures with the reinforcing concrete in that. I then went to the Clyde Dam and I then went to an office that only did road design on the drawing board. So everything you see, rub, try that one, rub.
Yeah, I saw the photo like, it's sleeping on the table and drawing, Nowadays easy, right?
Under the drawing board, there was big weights.
Yeah,
So when someone slept, you disconnect the weights, so that when they stood up, the board would wake them up. So anyway, did roading for 2 years, and then went to the Clyde Dam and did reinforcing concrete for a year. Then went to London and did bridges in Saudi Arabia for about a year, and then back to Auckland and worked in consultancy since about 1990. Yeah. And because I'd done civil and structural, they kept jumping me in different offices. So when they got a big structural job, they made me in charge of maybe 11 people. When they only had small jobs, I went wherever they were. So, I think that was for, 2010, they rang me up here and said, we need someone, we've only got drawing boards, all these rooms are all drawing boards. This wasn't here, but the ones over in 114, all drawing boards.
How was the challenge like?
Yeah, I don't know, like, it's fucking weird. Yeah.
It was interesting, yeah.
I have to do it.
I wanted them to keep one drawing class, which we did, on the boards. So you would have had to do one drawing board class, and then you'd move into AutoCAD, and then you move into community.
It does overlap
Design and drawing.
Like these
Didn't-
two.
There was only civil and
Like on
structural,
one of
and
the
no
lines?
design and drawing, so degree and diplomas were together.
Yeah, it does overlap.
But I was still working as well in consultancy, so doing double, yeah.
Does it have to overlap more or less or?
Yeah.
You do nowadays.
I haven't done that
Go
since
analyze again.
2012.
You know how I get that?
I could. I could. It was a little stressful because I was going to Newmarket and then coming here and Newmarket and here, teaching backwards and forwards. And it was, I was younger and I didn't have many sick days and it was good, you know, but don't tell him that. He might be interested in me. Yeah. When I started, most of the engineers had their own companies, so they were doing design as well as teaching here, and it was very acceptable. But then one day somebody got caught. They had too much on, and they flipped. They had some sort of mental breakdown, and they found out they were working 70 hours in a consultancy and 40 hours here, and they stopped people doing that basically. Yeah, you can. I think you have to tell them you're allowed about 40 hours a year or 50 hours a year as work experience. What do you call it? Upskilling. yeah, all that sort of change. It was quite good because everybody was working in the real world, so it was, the students were getting a good assignments and you know, good knowledge.
You mean when you did your uni, you did everything, drawing everything on a paper?
Yes. No CAD.
How did you do like 3D? Imagine and then draw like this?
No, it was isometric.
Yeah, I mean like,
Yeah, you had
it's still
to.
hard, right?
Yeah,
You have to imagine, oh, this one is big.
Yeah, quite often we had to do that. Clients would say, I want an isometric view. You spend a day or two doing that, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's some pretty good drafties. They just 1991, two, no, three. It all just happened overnight in consultancy. The draft, anyone that didn't want to go to CAD just lost their job. They ended up taxi drivers overnight. Quite literally had signs they put on the top of their car and off they went. Taxi, taxi, and a thing on the top. Logged in and off they went. Eventually they didn't work in drawing anymore. It was quite sad that we lost all that. Oh, we had two technicians here that their full-time job was looking after the drawing boards.
Yeah, the previous one. Because I think if you change it,
Okay, well, probably quite a good idea to do a save right now. I'm really encourage you on your assignment to, as you're going along, do saves. So you can go back to wherever you didn't cock it up and start carrying on from there. It might sound a bit smart, like, you know, you're going to cock it up. But I'll tell you what, if you go back to where you had made a mistake and carry on, you won't have all that work to do. There is nothing worse than repeating everything all the way through. To me, I hope that you make lots of mistakes, because the more mistakes, the more you learn. The more you learn, the more value you'll be in industry. I had a diploma student last year, no names. He was one of my worst students in civil and structural drawing in CAD. I don't know how many times that, it was a he, not a she, of course. I don't know how many times he repeated, but he was one of the best students at this. And I asked him, how come you're so good? He said, first of all, I had to repeat all your classes. But he said, when he was doing it, he was with James. James maybe know, but don't tell anyone. He said to me, I kept mucking it up, but I kept going back, and eventually I worked it all out. And at one stage, I was having a problem. He came up and went, and said, that's how you do it. And I went, how the hell did you know that? And he said, oh, I was doing that. I had to go over that about 10 times to get it right. So, yeah, I said, well, if ever you get a job in Civil 3D, let us know. I said, you obviously know this inside out. So that was good. But anyway, do a save as, and we'll move on to slope arrows. So what I would like you to do is to, under properties, so on your existing plan, click on the surface. So this surface here, click on it, right click and go properties. And you should get this here. Right click and go properties. So make it go blue first. So I'm gonna have a bit of a go at doing that. So I'll get rid of this now. We've done our quantities, but you can always bring that back again anytime. So I'm going to click on this. See that's gone blue. And I'm going to right click and go properties. Now my property box has gone over to the side, so I may have to expand that, and I'm just trying to do that right now for you. There we are. Now, I might. We're going to look at the style of the slope arrows and contours. We're going to change it to ANZ and analyst slope arrows and contours. So let's go to properties again. And under style here, we're going to down arrow, and we want to change it to slope arrows and contours. So it's ANZ and analyze, slope arrows and contours every 0.5. So that one. So let's have a look at that. It's pretty cool. You can tell exactly where the water's going to drain, but so two things. You can tell which way all the water's going, which is great. Secondly, if you produce that in AutoCAD for me, you're going to lose a lot of marks. Way too many arrows, way too big. So you need to do something about that. So the next part is all about changing things around.
Don't have surface like you have to.
Oh, no. You change the corridor surface. No, the contour surface.
So in order to do that, we're going to do this function here. We're going to click on the surface, right click and go edit surface style. So I've called mine Roger's surface. I don't know what James has called his. I'll try and find it. Oh, Unitech something? So let's find James's surfaces. Unity ground, yeah. So click on that, right click and go surface property, edit surface style.
That's just the title of it.
Yeah, let's see what he said. He said you need to have.
And we get a big box like that.
Yeah, go back to it. Go back to your drawing. Go back to your drawing. Remove this.
Delete.
Remove. Yeah, remove surface. Give the title.
So under the tab summary, we're going to go to slope arrows, and these are our ways of playing with the slope arrows. So the number of ranges, what does that mean, Dave? Does that mean how many per? Okay. So there's the range precision, the arrow type, leave it as a filled arrow, and you've got the arrow length. Okay, so we can play with all of those, but we'll play with the arrow length and the range, and
I think what the range means is it looks at the smallest value, the biggest value, and divides it by 5. So you got, if you got 5 meters, you'll have range between 0, 1, 1 and 2,
so you're better off with a range of say 1.
No,
Right.
you just need to make it to.
Let's see what the notes say.
Don't worry.
I can't remember what the notes say. But that's the idea of range, you might have a 20 meters, 5 meter range, so you'll have, every 4 meters we'll have a, not every 4 meters, but, everything's been divided up into those chunks of 4.
Those chunks of 4, chunks of 5.
Every chunk of 4 will have a arrow pointing in a particular direction.
Okay.
But I don't know how spread apart those arrows would be.
So anyway, I'm leading the horse to water. The horse has to play with those values, and you'll have to play with them also in your assignment. So I'm going to change them a little bit here. So let's find the slope arrows. They should be down the bottom here under slopes. And then slope arrows, the very last one. And I'll change the range to 5, 1, and 1 down here. And I'll go apply and OK. And as you can see, a much more acceptable arrow size, and probably about as many as you need on the drawing. Maybe a little less. So for those that didn't do 5005 with me, every council requires slope arrows on your proposed engineering drawing, mostly because they don't want to be responsible for the water running into somebody's house or garage or driveway or plants or whatever. They don't want anything to go into any private property, or in some cases council property where they don't want water flowing either. So you will need to do a bare minimum of flow arrows on all of your engineering projects. Unless, of course, the water is all collected and taken away under stormwater drains or something like that. For those that end up working in that area, there are different calculations for different materials that rain falls on. Obviously grass, bush, stuff like that can hold a lot more water, whereas concrete, it'll straight run off. It'll build up and run off into other people's houses.
See the notes of the engineering.
Interesting, from these flow arrows, councils have developed what they call overland flow paths. If you're ever looking to buy a house, do not buy one with an overland flow path.
Which one was this one? Row first, we need to fix this.
I'm just suggesting that if you are in your assignment and you manage to find some arrows that work, good size, good amount, do a save, because you don't want to have to end up making a mistake and having to go right back and readjust all your arrows when you can't remember what you actually set it to in the first place. Labelling the contours.
Please the instructions.
Now,
Go to week 3. You don't have me,
when I finished working in for a consultancy in 2012, they had just got in 12D, and they also had Civil 3D. So we were doing some projects on each. I didn't have that much time on either, but it was very interesting that when people compared the two, 12D was classed as the best one for surveyors and also the best one for stormwater design, as in most stormwater and sewage design. However, Civil 3D was advancing quicker in road design, and what I'm about to show you is a feature that's really cool in Civil 3D. So currently we have our contours on our drawing, and here what you're going to find is in the assignment I may say to you, I want the contour spaces to be this and that, and you've already set them through other things to the wrong spaces. So in some ways this is a way you can come back and change that. But more importantly, you can label your contours. And you don't have to do on AutoCAD like I make you do. Put it on, rotate it, and break the line, and then move to the next one, put it on, rotate it, break the line. This will do it automatically. And not just automatically, it'll do it automatically in line with the contour, and you don't even have to think about editing the text to the right size. So it's another one of those hold the gun to the teacher moments. With all those contours that you had to do for me, this is, and you can put those contour labels wherever you like. So we're going to strike some lines, and every time, it's a bit like me when I walk around in the hub. I turn around and there's 5 students following me. All right? You strike a line, turn around, and all the line, everything through that line's been labelled, just like that. So we're going to do that. Now, the other thing is that you've got to think about the lowest common denominator, which is the person you're giving these drawings to. All right? If you just do one line and go, yep, I've labelled my contours, what happens if they decide to zoom in on the bottom part of this drawing and try and work out something that's going to happen down there? There could be a shed that needs removed. Oh gosh, there is in the assignment. There could be a path, there could be trees in the road, and you can't see any labels, so you can't work out the heights because the labels are way up here. So my opinion is to label, go crazy, label some labels all over the place. You can't really have not enough labels. You can have too many of those damn water flow arrows, but you can't have too many labels. So let's do it. So go to the surface and right click on the surface and go to surface style. So I'm going to flick back to James's computer. Oh, the fun starts now. So I'm going to right click and go edit surface style and bring that same box up. But this time I'm going to go to contour intervals. And here's my chance to change things. All right? I'd say take a mental note of that because you will have to do that probably in your assignment. And yeah. The thing that the past student can't do in the assignment, once we get to the assignment, is if you go to him and say, well, how do I change the contour intervals? It's worth 2 marks. He can't say, oh, just do that and that and give you 2 marks. What he can say is, go back on week 3 notes and have a look. All right. So I'm going to change this to 2, 0.2 and 1. This is going to change James's thing altogether. And then I'm going to go apply and OK. And you'll notice that the contours now, there's quite a few of them there, all right? Okay, now this is a little bit more so what we're actually going to do is we're going to add some labels, and to add the labels we're going to be ending up drawing some lines through where we want to put them. It's a good idea to put the labels, go across the labels like the contour arrows, the slope arrows are, because it's nice to be able to read them all at once, isn't it, when you're looking for contour heights, rather than have one there, one down there, one down there, you know, and you've got to follow it all the way up. So I tend to strike them across, sort of like in a zigzag pattern. So we're going to go annotate, add surface labels. annotate, add surface labels. A lot of these things can be done independently. We could have done this way back, but I've decided to do it after we've changed the labels.
You can see at the interval.
So annotate, add labels, surface, add surface labels. So we get this box here. Quite a bit to click here. This is where I went wrong last time when I was doing this, but I don't think I'm going to do it this time. Confidence is the key, Dave. I'm just wondering when I'm going to get you to help me. Okay, so we have surface. We got we're going to click on multiple, contours multiple, and these three boxes appear. So if you click on contours multiple, three boxes appear, and then under each box, the next thing to do is this down arrow here, and go
Everything is wrong. That's why I don't need to
Create.
say because it's wrong, you know? It's wrong, it's wrong.
create new, then add.
Huh? Oh, that's correct. I didn't know how to change.
Now we go edit current selection.
I want to change the color.
So I think we have to actually select that, don't we, Dave?
Did you make it full?
Edit current selection, and you get this box here,
It was for what do you mean?
which is that box down the bottom. So I'm going to do that again.
Okay. Awesome. I tried to ask when you answered.
We click on here.
You thought I was
Okay.
working with you. I don't know.
So we click on here. We go add annotate, add labels, surface, add surface labels. We go on here, we go from slope to multiple, and then the first one is down to edit current selection. And now we go under,
Setting your text type.
yep. Now, obviously, with the labels, we need to set some sort of text type here. So we go layout, and we set the text type to 0.3. Go apply and OK.
How about another two? So the first one changed to 0.3. How about
You're getting ahead of me now.
sorry,
Well done.
Roger. The first one, major control labels now. NNA design control major. So we should use the one and
I just did this first one. You should have the notes there.
the notes.
Drop down to the next box.
Major control one.
Yeah. So that one there, see?
0.1.
See that one?
Just do meetings, skip some
Okay.
stuff.
So I've changed the text type there to 0.3, which is that one there.
Yes, you have the blue. Can you go and control?
And I'm going to go,
This, I don't have that.
we should have that under layout up the top. 0.3. I'm going to go apply and OK.
What?
I know where they came from until you told me I was lying. I haven't done it.
Now,
You need to.
this is the bit where you all need to watch. If I go add, it gives me a chance to start drawing my line,
Go ahead.
and I'm going to start drawing it there.
Description, instruction.
Oh, select the surface, sorry.
Go to the instruction.
I've clicked once, I'm clicking again. I'm clicking over here. I'm clicking over here. Guess what, Dave? Some of my labels are not coming through at the right height, but some are, so it's an opportunity for me to go backwards and see what's going on. I don't think I've changed my minor, so I've got to go there, and our minor should be 0.3. Apply and OK, and that one should be 0.3. And the bottom one. Okay. So all of these have to be changed to 0.3 by using the down arrow there. And then we go add. Not quite sure what that.
The middle one should be none.
I just went add. Oh, the middle one should be none. No, the middle one is should be.
The first A and Z part, you choose the first one. The notes say that.
The notes say none for the middle one. Okay, let's do the middle one none. Sorry.
The A and Z design control, choose that one, is none.
Which one? This one?
On the top, the broken. Yep. Yep.
It also says in the notes if you want one or two.
So you can have the minor ones on there. Yeah, some people only like to label the major contour, like 1 meter, 2 meters, 3 meters. Some like 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. So the option there is to make it none or back to where it was.
I think you can always go back and turn them around.
Yeah.
It's not a permanent.
So I'm gonna keep it on. I'm gonna keep it 0.3, and I'm gonna go add. So it says select the surface, and then press enter. And now I'm gonna go across. Oh, add. Click. Click.
Oh, because so basically this is.
Why is it not
So
working?
this means there's
Click.
one back and forth. So your goal is to try to get.
Ah, we're off.
Try to get that sort of balance, get the red and the green sort of the same.
But that doesn't matter now because you can't get on the first try.
It does.
I'm just doing a continuous line.
If you change it,
You can go back to the add again. You'll notice that
up or down.
the contours are following me, like the students do in the hub. And we're getting nice.
You kind of play around with it. This is why I told Haroun.
Do you want to cross our?
Try to minimize your number of curves.
No.
Sweet.
Although having some contour labels on
Just leave it.
the road, is useful, but I'd probably go up the road.
The thing is, you should be able to join the contours across to the other side. So you may have to zoom in and out as you're doing this. That's a good text height. It's the same as the spot heights. It's broken them quite nicely. You can go back and delete them if you need to, or add more. Once again, you need to try and get all these things to a text height that you're comfortable with before you bring it into AutoCAD. Otherwise, you're back to that editing every single one.
But before that, you are in good position, but I'm dead.
Can I ask you something?
What? See that fast? And still,
Once again, time to do another save
it's
as.
not even happening.
What am I supposed
ahead of you.
Yeah, of course you're ahead of me.
I will do everything again. This is wrong.
How is it wrong?
Okay, so now we're going to select the alignment.
I'm still
I'll just clear that box there. I'm going to select the alignment here. Sorry, I'll go back to up the top there. We're going to do some sample lines. So you need to select sample lines and then select the alignment. So up the top, under the home profile, go to sample lines and click on the alignment. You get this box up here. Now I see on James's one, he's already done that, I think.
Okay, you want me to show you how to do the arrows? Or do you want to do something else?
And we get that box there.
Yeah, do the arrows.
So I'll just go there again under the home command. You got to go to sample lines and click on the alignment, or the middle, the center line of the alignment, and you bring up that box there.
What? 10.
Now we have to name this. I'm going to call it sample lines 1. And you'll notice on the example, I've called mine Roger's surface corridor 1 and corridor 2 or something like that. James has called his differently, you'll see it in a minute. But I'm going to call this sample lines 1. And we're going to check that this says sample lines in ANZ drainage and go OK. Now you see that I appear to be attached to the alignment, which is a bit weird.
Yeah, and wait. Go make this one, put it down.
At the same time, up the top, we'll notice a new box has appeared. I'll bring that onto the screen. What we need to do with this box is to down arrow at that point there. And we need to click on by range of stations. So what we're doing is we're setting up some cross-section views. Now, when you were in 505 with me, design and drawing, we just did 2 cross-sections, one through a platform A and the other one through platform B. On the road, normally they require cross-sections every 20 what I also ended up doing was having a little bit of surveying in my time. And I can tell you this much, in my time we used to set up the stations in the middle of the road. And there wasn't a lot of traffic management going on, just one of your mates trying not to sleep further down the road warning the cars. Whenever that mate went to sleep in the bushes, which was quite often, there were quite a few near misses with the poor person in the middle of the road setting up the tripod. Once, only once, we decided to leave the tripod there with a couple of cones. A car came around the corner and took the survey equipment out. Now, in those days, the tripods were worth a lot of money. They still are, I suppose. And we had a guy called the Hat, the surveyor called the Hat. He turned up whenever anything like that so serious happened. And when the Hat arrived, you knew that somebody was going to get the sack. And that's what happened. He sacked the guy in charge. He said, if you had have been beside it, working on it, I wouldn't have sacked you. And he said, but sir, I would have died. He said, exactly. So anyway, I don't think they do that anymore now, but we used to peg the centre line of roads with a, what are those pegs called, Dave? With a round head on the top, like a bolt. Yeah, like a bolt, a rounded headed nail, yeah. And then spray them, yeah. So in my time it was every 10 metres. What I'm trying to say in my roundabout way is, can you please do it every 10 metres? So can you please make everything 10 metres?
Yeah, 10 meters.
Now that might not be what happens in the assignment, so you need to know where to go. And once you've done that, just go okay. And you'll notice on James's now, these yellow lines have appeared. So what it's going to do is produce cross sections every 10 metres. And you'll notice that when you go around the corner, it doesn't do them, it goes round with the circle, so it does them parallel or perpendicular to the road. So it's really quite clever, this program. Now if we go escape, we get rid of the attachment. See how we continuously seem to be attached to that centre line? Just go escape. Nope, didn't work. Try again. Oh, James's computer, that might help. Okay. Now when I went escape, we've ended up with the changes there now. You know how you name a cross section on your platform for me? BB and AA. On the road we don't do that. On the road we put a chainage there. And the chainage goes on the proposed plan, not on the existing plan. The chainage, you can see the chainage there underneath. Now you may, depending on which way around your plan is, you may reverse, you may need to read it from the top, not the bottom. You always read from the right hand side or from the top. So if it's come out underneath, you'll need to reverse that. I'm sorry, I don't know the command on Civil 3D to change that. If you find it, do it in Civil 3D. If you don't, flip them around. There won't be many. Your road's only going to be about 120 k's. So at the most, you might have to do 10 or 12 of them. So there we are. That's what it looks like when you roll out a bit. All right. So if we had been going up the road, those chainages would have been the right way around. Now, this is kind of a poignant moment. This is where you check, hey, you know what? Everything looks cool. I'm ready to go. Let's get these cross sections done so that I can get home nice and early. So
Yeah, I'm wondering.
in order to, this part of it's called production.
This is nothing.
We're going to produce some cross sections. But in order to do that, we need to find out, I'm going to tell you in the assignment, we need to tell you, you need to know what scale the production is going to be, i.e. 1 to 200, 1 to 100, 1 to 500, what size sheet, etc. And this is where we can do the production of the sections. So looking at the notes, once again under the Home tab, we go to Section Views, Create Multiple Views, Section Views, Create Multiple Views. So let's do that. So under the Home tab, we go to Section Views, Create Multiple Views.
Okay, just one thing.
Okay, we get this box here.
No. Can you just
Once again, like everything else, we should label it, because if you end up doing 2 or 3 of these and come back to the one you like the most, you've got 1, 2 and 3, you may need to remember that particular view.
Okay, continue.
Section view 1. So I'm trying to train you all to be better at this, and that is definitely one way to do it, is to rename everything and to make sure that you do that at every step, that you record it in your notebook or in a Word document or something. Now you'll notice that with James, he's got the road alignment up there and the sample line 1, which is what he's called this, and he's selected the road alignment. I think that's the one we're going to use. We'll just check that. Yep. Now we go next. Drum roll. Okay, where it says the 3 dots here, click on those, and we're going to set that to A1, 1 to 200. There's no 1 to 200. That is because we haven't selected the right one, the right AutoCAD 2024 sheet A and Z. So in order to do that, where's that hiding, Dave? We go here and we click on that.
Go here.
So I'll just do that again.
Oh, give me.
We go to the 3 dots and we click on the 3 dots a second time. And we roll down, and we might pay to stretch this out a wee bit.
Hurry up, please.
We
Stop,
roll
stop.
down to
Okay, I want to do that.
um,
To do one thing, okay?
A and Z design here.
How to extend it? How to extend it?
It says section sheet A and Z. And the only one of those is the 2024 one. Okay? There's your only section sheet A and Z. It's the 2024 one. Click on that and go open. And now you've got lots more choices. So in your assignment, if you don't do that, you'll only have a few choices, and they won't be the ones that I'm asking for. So now's the time to remember that. So now, that was quite tricky, that. Do it one more time. Click on here, click on the dots again, roll down to the 2024
So what are the
sheet, section sheet, go open. Now you've got a 1 to 200 option at the top, go OK.
Oh, yeah.
And now go create section views.
Surface,
And now here, this is not for students that are trigger happy.
we'll make it 5.
2 reasons. One, I don't want you pointing the gun at the teacher because this really is annoying from all those sections you had to do for me. And secondly, if you're trigger happy, you're going to put it right on top of everything. Go way over to the side and click here. Bang.
You said it, don't
Look at that.
use the
So each section has got
It's in the last one.
everything but proposed levels, Dave.
I read.
What has James forgotten? Of course,
This paper is lucky.
the old data band.
You shouldn't have hit section, correct section view, it should have been next in the database.
you know thing.
Yes.
Of the work.
Okay, so we made a bit of a mistake there,
And it's slow pause.
purposely, so that the class knows what to do when they do it. The nose is just getting bigger and bigger. Let's go backwards. And let's get rid of that. And let's find a way of getting those data up. So I've got it back. That's good. Okay, let's go section views, create
Yeah, my one is like this.
section view. Is it multiple views? Like multiple views. We go naming it. Now this is interesting because we're going to have to give it a different name and the other name will still be in the drawing. So section view 2. Now this is the one we need to use. So don't forget that. Create section views. No, that would have been a mistake. Next.
No, this is it.
Now, and next we go to the 3 clicks. 3 clicks again, down to 2024, and go open. Now we go to click on 1 to 200, we go OK. Now we don't go create, we go next. We go next again, and then we get to data bands.
Everything is wrong.
Big pardon?
Now you gotta choose your surfaces.
You leave me.
Yes.
Actually, no, everything.
So hopefully you have labelled your surfaces correctly. So why is that not gone on there, Dave? I wrote the notes. Yeah. All right. So there's a piece here that's not in the notes, so you'll be pleased you came along tonight.
Sometimes.
Okay, so we need to remember to expand this. No. We need to remember our surfaces. And in this case, I think we grabbed the lot, don't we?
Where are you? Yeah,
On the data bands.
Do you remember which one to do? Down here, either all surface one that's been
Okay. So under the each surface, the corridor surface needs to change to Unitec ground or EG, depending on what you called it.
No, not both surfaces,
Just that one.
one of them. Now, we could be doing it the wrong way around. I can never remember which is surface 1 and which is surface 2.
Okay. So we're gonna try experiment first with Unitec ground.
Don't you do it and see if we do it wrong, you know how to
If we do
right.
it wrong, then, well, I'll have to go back and do it again, so don't you do it.
Well, if we do it wrong, you know that this is supposed to be your existing ground. Not that one. I can never remember, sir.
My one was already like that.
Okay, I'll go over here and I'll put it here. Let's go and see what it's done. We've got the proposed levels, we've got the offsets, but it hasn't given us the existing grounds.
I need to go on
Proposed levels. I think you did them here. You click in the right place here. We have all the
Oh, but why in his one it show erosion and our one show volume?
Yeah, because he gave it this name. You want to do it?
You know what I'm gonna name it Roger Solar. It's exactly like that's a good idea, right?
Yeah.
To make it exactly like this. Why would it be like that? Like I've done something. Why the?
Oh, yeah.
Why would it be like I've done something?
That's smart.
The problem is when you don't do it. That's the problem.
Anybody got these to work?
You have to invite me to your company.
Which way around did you do your bands?
They did EG,
Okay, so,
It doesn't matter which one you change.
yeah, but did you get the numbers in the middle?
Yeah, they got the.
Yeah, I got all of them.
David.
Hello?
He's a bit stressed out.
Did you do them the other way around?
Yeah.
Sorry?
I don't know why.
Did you do it the other way around to what I'm doing?
There you go.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I did one
Go
side
into deep
existing
waters,
ground, one
okay?
side.
I will bring you down into deep waters. You want me to tell him?
So, I'm gonna do that one, am I?
I will do
Some are missing, some are. Is it because I don't have the cotton difference too?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only one, but we can go back and do it, which I will do so everyone can see. I've broken through, I've got gold, and I'm gonna come back and do it again. So, like last time,
That's so funny.
all right, some of you got that and some of you didn't, but I think it's important that, because it's not in the notes, I'll go through and do it. I'd like to remind you that that there's a lot of YouTube videos there that you can watch that have other examples and lead you through. It's just they don't have the circles on buttons to push, and they don't always do the screenshots, but they do a live presentation, so you can slow them down and have a look. So if there's one little area you're confused about, go in and have a look at that as well. But listen, I did make a mistake there, first of all by not putting it in the notes, and secondly by clicking on the wrong button. So let's just go through that process again. So under the home, we're going to go to section views and create section view. You'll remember that we did this and we called it something. This time I'm going to go section view 3, and I'm going to go next, next, We're not gonna play with that one, we're gonna go to the data bank, and we're gonna play with the second one, and change that to Unitech ground. And then we're gonna go create section view. I'm gonna put it somewhere. Oh, so what didn't we do?
I think you choose the.
You were gonna choose the 1 to 200.
No, you need to choose a notable, the first one.
Yeah, correct. Create section view.
No,
There's
the first
the
one.
first multiple.
Break multiple.
Yeah, first one.
Break multiple.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I
Did
go
you-
to this step. It
Oh, we're
says
up to
add
section
photo
4 now.
labeling. You know which line I have to click on? Like, I go to this, I go to this.
Big fun?
You'll get good at this eventually.
I will get good at this eventually, and then you'll be time to retire after that.
Section placement.
Next.
No, next. Come on, Roger, you can do better. Dots, 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 dots. Oh no.
Well, actually, it is already set to that one,
Yeah, it's
but,
already set that one. Okay.
but I'm just going through. You gotta set to that,
Yeah.
then go OK,
Yeah.
and then go next, and then just drop down the data band till you get to that one,
Yep, fix it.
and we're gonna fix the second one.
Yep.
And a lot of you have already done this, well done. Hopefully you won't forget how to do it for your assignment.
Yeah, see?
When I developed
Then
it,
go-
in
Just keep, so this is your
2015,
line,
I did
wherever
this
your line crosses.
drawing
contour
50
left.
times.
Hold on, we've got a
But it's
problem
only for the
today.
red ones, right?
No, I
No,
blame his,
because you don't have anything for the minor. So like 0.1 for the minor.
I blame his.
Other way around.
Yeah, the ground.
But he did that, I followed
the
him, he didn't do the
one.
minor. He did.
No.
I said this
I
two.
said this one.
This is how I do it.
And did you get all the numbers?
I did surface 2 as existing. I don't know. I blame him.
Don't blame James. I know he's most highly paid out of this.
Oh, snap.
Easy pick on. It'll be last time you bring your laptop in, won't it?
Your database.
That's right.
But this is what I'm confused about. What about, this one here? That looks all right, doesn't it?
Wait, so what you do is you.
So you're saying go to the corridor, this
I
one,
did that, I'm here.
Well, mine worked the other way.
The step
Here.
No, was it when you select the.
Well, if you look at that, S1 is designed, S2 should be existing.
Press enter.
So you look down here, S1 should be designed, surface 1, surface 2
Across,
should be existing.
no.
And then we're looking, S1 minus S2 should be your level difference.
Did you click it?
Yes. Why
And
is
then the other column should be offsets. So there's something maybe not quite
Specify next point.
oh, work,
worked.
no.
Here?
Yeah. Escape.
Okay.
So what we've discovered is that if you get something like this, did everybody else's work with that, did it?
Try.
So what we
you do-
are doing here is, we went to this one and we went right mouse and section view properties. And we changed that to, we changed that one to corridor and that one to, that one round, they round. So you can do it that way, unless you grab them all.
How do you get ANZ design? ANZ design. ANZ design contour major.
Just say, well, that's how it should look.
On this. Click on
Yeah.
Go down.
Oh, yeah.
Now click on that.
That's how it should look, but Roger does want to edit everyone separately during class. But you can see here the differences,
No, I think it's like.
you know, that in this section, which should match your vertical. Oh, no, it won't match your vertical, first cross section. So you've got some cut,
So
cut,
did yours
and a
do
little bit
that
of
straight away? Okay.
yeah. And mine works straight away, so there's something a little bit fishy going on here.
Yeah, look at your.
I'm not quite sure what happened with this database, but that's something to remember. If you have that same problem, you can go in here and click on individual ones like this one. Right click and go down to section view properties and change the corridor around for the Unity ground, or at least change them the other way round, and they will in fact work. Okay?
We don't know what's going on here.
No. So this is kind of all you have to do for your civil 3D section for half of your marks. What you will have to do for AutoCAD is change these into those pretty drawings that you did for me in 6005. So I think it's probably a good time to have a quick little look at the assignment. As I said before, you can't really do the AutoCAD side of it this week, but you certainly could do assignment 1 and 2 this week, because we've done enough for that. I am going to do a special lecture next week on the things that need to go in the drawing in AutoCAD. So let's zoom in on this, for example. Where are we? Let's zoom in on James's sections. So let's say you're able to do this first up. What that isn't showing is it's not showing any paths, trees, ponds, anything like that. It's not got hatching on it. It's not got ground hatch on it. It's not got a number of things that I made you put on those sections when you did the platforms. I'll give you some examples, and after that, it also doesn't have notes on there. So there's quite a few things missing off that, which you'll need to be putting on each one of those. Some notes will be relevant to just one cross section, some will be relevant to all of them. You will need to do also using your, oh crikey, I can't show it on James's, I can, yeah. So James, of course, has done this wonderful little view of his road, and what that is basically is a typical cross-section of the road. So you'll need to show that somewhere on your sections and label the bits and pieces as well. So just producing these in AutoCAD is not going to be sufficient to get you very many marks in the other half. I'm going to give you 2 weeks to do that because it takes a little bit more time. I want to try and keep the hand-ins away from Revit, which will start after the holidays. So we're going to now, after next week, the classes, the 3 remaining classes will be labs where you can do your assignment. There won't be any of this. You can sit there and do your assignment. James and I will be here. And most of our references will be to the notes and the practice, and you'll have to put that into the assignment. So let's have a look at the assignment itself, and let's make it available to everybody. If it lets us in here.
Couldn't just even do a practice. Name your song.
So under the assessments section is where the drop box will be. The drop boxes will be made available as well at some point. At the moment, I haven't. Oh, I've got one of them I can make available. Do that now. So the Dropbox is available for those that have not been at Unitec before. You open up the folder and you slide your file into the Dropbox. You can do this as many times as you like. You need to delete the first one and then slide another one in. So if you do some work for the night in here, for example, you could very easily just slide it into the Dropbox and it's available for you to use to download or whatever at home or whatever. A lot of students don't take advantage of that, and come the last day before hand-in, they email me saying, I was about to put my file in the Dropbox and it closed on me. That's exactly what happens. At 5 o'clock, not 1 second past 5, the Dropbox closes. All right? And there are penalties. Now, the standard Unitec penalty is 20%. I may be a little bit more lenient on that for within an hour, but after that, you will be penalised. And it's the same for each one. When I started here at Unitec, I used to be kind of like, oh no, don't worry about it. You can be late tomorrow. No worries. Trying to be Mr. Popular with all the students, but it came back to bite me. I nearly lost my job out of it because students these days with cell phones and everything else and media very quickly get onto that lark, and the minute you turn one down and not the other, it looks like you're being favourites. So let's have a look at the assignment and what you've got to do. Now, some of you will be quite happy about this, some won't. So we have a number of things. We have some additional data. You will need to put that in for Part C, which is the AutoCAD side of it. You don't need to put the additional data in for Part A and Part B. Right? You can if you want, but it won't be worth any marks. There is a logo and a title block. You'll be expected to put that on your AutoCAD drawings only. So that's making Part A and B look pretty good. So Part A, create a surface, put the surface points files provided in to the surface. So you'll notice there is a, there isn't a point files. I'm not sure where they've disappeared to. I have got them, I will update them. I'll update them when I get the opportunity to, which will be tomorrow morning. There will be some point files in there, okay? They are a little different to the point files from last semester, but they do look
I don't have the 40.
something, no, they're not there. They're on my computer, sorry about that. Anyway, there's point files there. So the first part is basically creating a surface, creating a boundary, putting some water flow arrows on, and all you have to do is hand in the model space of your drawing. Now, you also have to do an alignment on there, just a centre line, and I've given you a start point and an end point. But you can do whatever curves you like. Don't use any more than 3 curves. And you have a restriction on your length for between 315 and 345 metres. Pretty easy 10 marks. Most of you will blitz that once you get the points. Don't forget to do everything you were taught in class. Part B gets a little bit harder, so it's worth a few more marks. You've got to create a horizontal and vertical alignment. You've got to insert some vertical curves, create an assembly. Notice the assembly is 3.6 lanes, minus 3%, standard curve, standard footpath. You've got to create a corridor and create volumes. And yes, for those that were playing around today, 10 cubic metres is what you've got to get under. It's not that hard, but it will take a little bit of time. Part C, once again, the hand-in for that is only model space and a civil 3D file. Part B is the, C is the AutoCAD. So you need to produce a proposed plan, a cross-section plan or plans, and a long section along the alignment. Now, Civil 3D will do quite a lot of that for you, but you've got to turn that into some pretty AutoCAD drawings. Now, with that additional data, some of the trees I've given the height and the width, so you need to draw a circle using those points as your centre of the circle. And that's why you're going to have to relate that to plan and cross-section views. So you'll notice there is 2 weeks between hand-ins B and C. And you will get your marks back for these as they're marked. I have 3 weeks to mark any student's drawings. Sometimes it is well within that, sometimes it's around about 3 weeks. I have a marking schedule that'll break down the marks there. And of course, whatever you get for this, say you get 40 out of 50, which is 80%, then that'll mean to pass the course you'll need to get 20% in the Revit part of it. All right. And if you get 100% in this, you will not pass without handing in something for Revit worth at least 1 mark. All right. So very important for people that didn't do design and drawing in Unitech. Next week, I'm going to show you some drawings and some standards that I need you to adhere to, okay? You won't need to apply that to assignment A and B. They're very easy. in terms of it'll be a civil CAD, civil 3D drawing
Yeah, but
in
it's
just the black space. Okay?
23 is only the first one.
But we have to submit it.
Exactly. How do you think you can?
I'd just like to say thank you to David for turning up. He's not being paid for this, even although he's in the back there on Tinder. Well, you know, that remark about me being single back in 2012, that was so true. Yeah. And James, of course, who went beyond and gave me his computer to use tonight.
Oh, please, can you upload us?
Take advantage of your tutorial next week. And I suggest you might
I give you the
might be able to
phone
knock
number.
that out pretty
Bro,
quickly.
but
So
I can do the notes and this.
yeah,
stuff.
I'll get on the
First
job
one, I
and get
give
you
the
those
video
point
for the
files. I'll
iWeb,
put
but
it
this
in
one
there.
maybe I give you. Bro, please. Picture,
What if I don't upload it?
I'll see if it's already in
Upload
there.
it
If
to
it's
the-
in there, I might be able to upload it now.
Just put it to the dub YouTube.
What if I don't upload it today? Huh? What if I don't upload it today?
Dave, I've used the same point file as last year, but I've
Oh, I have to.
changed the assignment around. You should say
Why should I upload it? Why should I
Why
upload it on time? Why should I upload it on time?
Bro, just put it in the YouTube, do like this. I know a lot of stuff about it. I have a YouTube channel. Because I was going to record, you told me that to give you
Your
the.
your cameras.
Now it's
Your
good, my
camera
camera.
is
My camera is
way,
good,
bro.
bro. Wallahi, see my camera, bro. Just because this one, when I, bro, see my camera.
Camera is
See my
way
camera,
good.
see my camera. See my camera is bad. See.
Your camera.
See.
Yeah, that's wet.
2024.
Yeah, it's even that. That's so whack. You can hardly see the tools.
Tools.
Yes. No, you need to bring a proper screen. You can hardly see the tools. You're literally aiming at that. Aim at the proper screen. Bring the proper screen.
Actually, you can. I can watch.
You can watch it with the glasses on.